So I had been using this oil cooler as a condenser for the air conditioning system. It's not quite as bad as it looks. The 4 tubes actually internally have, they're split in 4, so that there's actually sort of an internal fin structure inside those tubes, but still, you can't ever have too much condenser. And even though I only have a 3000 BTU compressor, I thought if I'm going to go to the effort of putting in a new evaporator that's more efficient, I might as well put in a super efficient condenser. So this unit used to sit kind of under the car, and it's just about 2 1/4 inches thick. And this new unit actually sits lower. It's not as thick, plus I'm mounting it in a slightly different location, a little closer into the exhaust system, but I'm drawing in lots of cool air from these 6 fans. I'll show you the power consumption is minimal. And basically I end up with, like, instead of 2 1/4 inches sticking down, it's only going to stick down 3/4 inch. And so a more efficient unit. And when I just turn the power on, I mean, you're not going to hear this because it's only when the engine's running, and it takes a little under 0.7 amps, so no current at all to drive. In fact, the standard outputs on the Holley ECU is 2 amps without using anything like a relay, so I can drive this directly off the ECU pins actually, which is nice, and I could even pulse width modulate it if I want to slow the fans down, make them a little bit quieter. But again, it takes almost no power. So this unit will pull the air up towards the body of the car, and then it'll have to push it out from there. So should work really, really well. I'll have the system back together in the next week or so. Yeah, so this is my manifold that attaches to the blower, and it's in 2 pieces so that you can get it in there. It has to fit in the rain tray area. So I'll just be attaching these plates to each other, and then this is my evaporator, which is half of a GM evaporator. It fits in multiple vehicles, and I've just glued on some number 8 O-ring fittings and welded it up, and yeah, it holds. I put it to 130 psi and it holds pressure, and it's on the low side of the circuit, so operating at 25 psi approximately, and then when you turn off the power it should go up to about 90 somewhat psi, so hopefully that'll hold. I'll get it all sealed up so that only air can get in through there, and then it'll be sucked in to the blower motor and scroll there, hopefully. So that's my work for the day. Yeah, so here's the new condenser mounted underneath, and I'll show you the other angle in a moment, but it's actually less depth to it because the fans are tucked up underneath than the old one. And so yep, the lines are running from the front up. There's a bit of an opening by the shift mechanism, that's where the lines run. I'm just waiting for a new thermistor because I broke this one when I was trying to install it. It just measures the temperature coming into the condenser, and then I have measurements all over the air conditioning system to look at the efficiency and the operation since it's a custom unit. Anyway, I'll put some thermal insulation along that edge there. Once all the wiring is complete, I will wrap everything with some thermal insulation to protect it from the exhaust, which is pretty close by here. So here's the internal numbers. I've got outside air temperature of almost 32, inside temperature of 19. Like the air blowing in, so I'm dropping 12 degrees C, and got some tuning left to do. There's more performance in this, but it should be quite effective, I think. I'm at 22.5 pounds on low side and 120 on the high side. So it doesn't want too much. It takes just over 1 can. And 1.25 cans. And then that gets me to where the optimum is, just under 12 degrees C temperature differential when it's warm. I've got my heater here trying to blast a lot of heat in here. So right, that's it. So I'm in the process of changing HID bulbs to the new super nice Philips LED bulbs. And so the HID is on the driver's side right now, and the LED is on passenger side. So it's just a different color temperature, roughly the same brightness. Maybe the LED is slightly brighter, but we'll wait until we do some nighttime driving with the LEDs, and I'll show you what that stuff looks like. But a lot less power and better battery life, and just more modern, I guess. I'm using the Gila H4 conversion, you know, with the replacement. You can replace the bulbs. So there. Here's the LED lights on the highway at night. Low beams. Really nice even pattern, nice clean cutoff. So couldn't be any happier. It really has worked out incredibly well. So this is my idea of a cheap and easy lower sprocket, lower pulley and damper protector for the bottom of the engine, so rocks and shit don't get in there and wreck the timing belt. So I'll just install it. It has to be in this weird shape just to make room for the pulleys and how I'm mounting it. So I'll show you in a second how it goes in. Yeah, so it's exposed right now, and then I'm using, there's 2 spare M8 bolts right here that I use to mount it, and it just wraps around the whole thing and keeps any rocks or crap from the wheel and the wheel well area from getting up in there and getting into the belts, specifically the timing belt, which is what I'm most worried about. So there it is mounted. It's above the spoiler level, so it shouldn't, there's no way rock should get in from someone in front of me. And then everything on the side is protected to a couple inches above where the bodywork is. And then on the back you can see, so let's see if I can get the lighting just right here. You can see where the mounting bolts are that at the back of the engine. So it's all protected all the way up to the top where the engine mount is. And there's a little gap at the back there for any crap that may fall in there, get in there, any water or anything can run out through the gap there. So hopefully this will protect me enough, and it's very quick to remove from the engine. So I'm happy to finally have that in place for street use. It's an illegal cell phone video here. So I've been driving